Welcome to the Camp Randall Platoon podcast. I'm James White along with Sojourn, Shelton, and Warren Herron bringing you Badger football news and updates. Obviously, the bowl game's approaching, but what just passed last week was early signing day. A little bit different than when we were in college. We didn't have no early signing day. You either, enroll early or you signed in February. But I like the recruiting class. Looking at it, we got the number 20 in the country recruiting class right now, number 4 in the Big Ten. And what jumped off the chart to me when I looked at the recruiting class, there's a lot of big kids. I see 6'2", 6'4", all across the board. So I think for Luke Fickle, I think he really likes to emphasize size, and I feel like he probably felt we were a little bit smaller than he expected as a team coming into last year. So it seems like he likes those big body corners, 6'2", like Sauce Gardner, who he had at Cincinnati. So you see him bringing in some guys like that. So I don't know what you guys' initial thoughts on the recruiting class so far. I know there's still some holes we probably need to fill in, all the way through February. But what's you guys' thoughts initially on this early signing period?
Initially, I'm all for it. Like you said, a lot of guys that are taller, bigger, and we kind of knew that was going to be the emphasis for him. He had to come in, see what he had to work with, and then when he was able to get his recruiting class and get his guys that he wanted in, you kind of knew what direction he was going to go in. Like, guys a similar size of Sauce Gardner as far as being, 6 foot and above, making sure those guys in the secondary can, compete with, the big guys and the receivers on the jump balls and the fade. So I'm excited, man. Like I said, it was good for him to come in and get a feel for how things were, but now he truly gets to implement and put, his philosophies and, his guys out there. And now we'll finally see, what Coach Fickle is made of and what everybody's so excited about.
About you, Juan, what's your thoughts on the early recruiting class?
Man, I'm hyped. Like, this is what you love to see, like, from your program, going out and getting guys. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that, we haven't had, good talent in the past, but love what Coach Fick is doing. Like, that was something we expected when he came in, knowing what he's come from and the success that he's had in the past with O State, Cincinnati, things like that. Like, we knew he was going to come in and recruit, and, I mean, that's what I expected, and that's what we got, and he's delivering, especially with some big time transfers coming in too. I mean, he's really putting his mark, on the recruiting game, on how he likes to recruit, and I think he has the surrounding coaches that want to do the same thing and go out and get, the best guys.
Yeah, man, I thought they've done a heck of a job. I mean, hey, I even put my recruiting hat on after this season. I see.
Hey, I don't know if Wisconsin football is watching this, but they need to cut you a check for. They need to cut you a check for sure, bro.
I was recruiting these algorithms on Twitter and all that. They must have known I was looking at all this. I see kids from Alabama, Georgia, Purdue, some good players that I've seen throughout the year putting their names in the transfer report. I shot my tweets out. I didn't get no responses. I think I went over. I went over as far as it. But hey, I'm gonna put it out there. These kids love social media. Hey, we all play. We all sometimes. Hey, just that little tweet may make a little bit of a difference. But it's been cool. And speaking of that, we just not only got kids, incoming freshmen for next year. We hit the transfer portal as well. We had some guys leave. Had some guys, join our football team. Probably most notably is the quarterback from Miami, Tyler Van Dyke. From our homie Ken, from his homeland, the Miami Hurricanes.
Shout out Ken.
I know he ended up getting benched last season, so last year was one of his worst years. But I think 2021 was his best year, either 2020, 2021, where he was kind of throwing the pill around, as a redshirt freshman, where you saw some flash. He's a big kid, and he has a strong arm. I don't know what you guys' thoughts on him. I know we brought in a lot of transfers last year. The quarterback room, it was probably subpar, not just on them. I mean, it was receivers, backs going down, all that. It was a microcosm of everything. It wasn't just on them. And we have an incoming freshman too. That kid's like 6'5", 6'6", freshman, 215. Looks like Trevor Lawrence. So I'm interested to see what this QB battle look like. Obviously, Van Dyke probably is the most seasoned one who's played the most big time snaps. So I would probably give him the edge over everybody else. I thought Locke looked solid. In some phases throughout the season, his few games that he got his chance to start. But I don't know what you guys' thoughts on the incoming, transfer Tyler Van Dyke from the University of Miami.
I'm excited. Just like you said, he played a lot of big time snaps at Miami, and that's a big time conference. They're playing some big games, and I'm just looking forward to seeing how that's able to transition and over to the Big Ten. It's a lot of different teams coming into our conference, so you're talking about a total overall change in, scheme and ball type that's played. So just being able to see how he comes in and he adjusts, I think that's going to be probably our biggest emphasis as far as, going into next year is just the QB play, and not, saying that, Mordecai didn't do a good job just with the circumstances that he had and then the injuries, but that is going to be what takes us to the next level and over the hump. That, and in the receiver room, I'm excited about the receiver that we're getting from Michigan State. And then also just, continue to build off what we have, with Will Pauling. We got to get that offense going. You get what I'm saying? Like that is truly, I'm not going to say what was the drop off last year with our, our play, but that is something that, once we get those guys going and we get defense up to speed, I think that's when we can really make a big push into this conference next year.
What about you, Warren? What's your thoughts on either Van Dyke, any other, incoming transfer portal guys? We had our guy Leon Lowry from Syracuse. He had his whole
he gave us a run around.
We'll
we'll get to that. I mean, I agree with Breeze, man. I really look forward to seeing what this Van Dyke dude can do. Obviously seeing what he's done at Miami. He's got game time experience in big games. Like, he's not, he's has experience on the big stage, and coming into Wisconsin, it don't get no bigger than that. It does, but I don't think it'll phase him. And I'm excited about that. Again, because he's been there. But, it's one of those things where you bring in a transfer quarterback and it's just going to be a competition. Like we said, Bryton Locke showed some really good things last year, and you can't keep him out because now he's going to have 2 years in the program. You know what I'm saying? Learning the scheme and having a relationship with the receivers. Unfortunately, we had two really good receivers depart us with Sky Bell and Chim DK. Yeah. Shouts out to those guys. Hope they have, amazing, careers moving forward wherever they're at or where they're at. But we still got some great guys in the receiver room. We got some hungry freshmen coming in. We got some kids that we've recruited that I know are chomping at the bit to get in with, key players vacating and now opening up some spots. So, and then guys already being here. So I'm really excited to see the quarterback battle in that quarterback room, and then seeing what receivers step up for that offense too.
Yeah, we definitely lost some guys. We lost Skylar Bell, Chimere DK. I think that's a big loss for us. I know he didn't have the most productive year, but he's a guy who's been part of the Wisconsin culture, had his his best year, not last year, but the year before that with Graham Mertz. He's transferring with him
to Florida,
University of Florida. So I'm sure he'll do well over there. I think he's a good human being. He's a good player. I'm sure he'll ball out over there. We lose Skylar. He had his fair share of drops, but he's a explosive player. I don't know where he's landed at. I didn't see where he transferred to at the moment. And we also lost Jordan Turner, linebacker. He's transferring to Michigan State, which he's a good football player. He had 61 tackles for us last year, 1 forced fumble. He was solid. I know he was suspended earlier in the year, for some off the field stuff. But when he got back on the field, he did his thing. So we have some guys coming in, have some guys leaving. That's kind of the nature of college football. Now you're gonna get guys in the portal, you're gonna lose guys. Whether they feel like they want a better opportunity somewhere else, or whether they want to make a major impact on another D1 school, D2 school, whatever it is. I think it's great for those guys. But as far as the transfer portal, incoming freshmen, is there any specific guy you guys are most excited to watch? Next season, I have mine, running back Darion Dupree from Chicago.
I've
seen him talking cash.
Yeah,
I believe him too.
We love it though. We love it.
I believe it.
Yeah, I like it though. And I like those are the type of guys that they need to bring in. These guys who are confident. As a young freshman, he ain't stepped foot on campus yet, but he's confident in his ability. Just watching the few clips, I haven't seen his whole highlight tape, but watching the few clips, I mean, he's running routes, catching the ball out of the backfield, taking runs 60 yards down the field. So he has the speed, he has the looseness, he has the versatility, and that's what we need in this offense. We saw how Ches, when he was healthy, his elusiveness, his versatility, what it did for us. And you bring a guy like that, which I think he can jump in right away and make an impact, whether they, line him up in the slot, line him up at running back, two backs on the field. He's a guy who I think can make a huge difference for us. So I don't know if anybody else you guys are excited about in this class or transfer portal.
I'm gonna go to corner. From down here, man, where our stomping grounds, James, Xavier Lucas, from American Heritage. American Heritage has put out some big time players, man.
Yeah.
When you just go back and listen, even when you look at the guys that they got in the NFL right now, they're an NFL factory machine as far as putting guys. Getting them to go to college, and then also just their production and how they're able to, pan out in college. So I'm excited for him. I mean, tall kid, kind of, reminds the coaching staff and recruiting staff and kind of us, of Sauce Gardner, just a big body man, can move, can make plays. So I'm excited to see him get on the field. I know it's a lot of hype around him. I know the coaching staff and the recruiting staff was extremely happy, and that was in the picture of it, that was their big fish, or one of their big fishes that they really wanted to land, and they had to get him, and they did. So I know just the way that our cornerback play has been having, getting Rico back and then having him, a little South Florida connection thing.
Hell yeah.
Just excited to see both of those boys get back at it and get back to playing top dog ball and shutting guys down.
About you, Warren? Anybody you excited to watch?
Bro, you know what I'm about to say. I'm going to that front, bro. We got two
trenches.
Yeah, we got two big time D linemen that's coming in. Dylan Jones, I think Dylan Johnson, and Ernest Wallor. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that right. But I don't remember the last time we got two 4-star defensive linemen in the building or committed in the building. Like, I think that's big time for our team. Not to mention, we saw what our D line did last year. They didn't do terrible, but we could have been a lot better up front. And to bring in two big time recruits like that, I don't want to speak too soon, but I'm hoping to see some young guys step up and be productive. I mean, we need it, especially up front. Keep some, offensive linemen off of our linebackers and create some pressure. So I'm really excited. Obviously, we talked about the two. We got two outside linebacker transfers coming in. One from William and Mary, one from Syracuse. Guys with game time experience. So man, I think our defense is going to look a little different next year from a movement standpoint. But I think we're going to be a lot better.
Yeah, I think so too. I like the versatility that they're bringing in. You have some bigger guys, and you have some smaller guys like Leon Lowry. He's a little bit lighter guy on the edge, a little bit of versatility. He probably can rush the passer, dropping coverage, make some plays that way as well. This 3-3-5 defense, you got to have some interchangeable guys that can do multiple things. So I think that'll be huge. But as far as this recruiting class too, we have 9 early enrollees, which is very uncharacteristic. For Wisconsin. I know our recruiting class, Warren, you were the only one. So I think you might have been the only one for your recruit.
Me and Keelan.
But you and Keelan were the only two. So it's very uncharacteristic. So I just wanted to kind of get you guys. I didn't enroll early, so I wanted to get you guys, kind of thoughts on what advantages did it create for you as far as getting adjusted on campus, getting adjusted to the playbook, practicing in the spring. What advantage did that play for you guys for your career?
Bro, it was huge. And I tell people, like, you always hear people talk about the game speed changing from high school to college and then college to the NFL. And I feel like when you're leaving high school and you're coming, you're in that, you have that mindset of like, there's no way it could be that much of a difference in a change, but it truly is. And as far as just learning the playbook, getting acclimated to the workouts, like I vividly remember my first workout, excuse my language, kicking my ass. Like I literally told my mom, like, I don't even know if this is for me. Like this is how it goes.
That is real.
So what I'm saying, just being able to get acclimated, get a a head start. School, man, being able to sit in those college classes and understand that it's a faster pace. It's a lot of stuff you got to get adjusted to. So to have 9 guys be able to come in that early, like, I mean, we play in 2 days. They'll be coming to campus within the next 2-3 weeks, so for them to get that opportunity is dope, is exciting, and it's going to help them out a lot just moving forward.
How about you? What's your thoughts? What did that sign the early do for you? Use the lone wolf. So
got me hazed a lot. No, I'm kidding.
Cut that, Joey.
Bro, I'm joking, bro. I'm joking. All jokes. But no, man, it definitely provided a lot of advantages. Obviously, I ain't come in. I wasn't Sojourn Shelton. I ain't started as a freshman, but I mean, also played behind some great guys like, JJ, Louis Nzegwu, David Gilbert, Pat Buttram, Ethan Hamer, guys that went to the league, so I had
that's some big dogs too.
Those are some big dogs. I had some guys to sit behind and watch. So Definitely got a chance to get in, work out, adapt to the pace of the game. Again, my first workout crushed me. I mean, we talked about it a couple of episodes ago. I was lying on the floor, puking, things like that. So be ready for that, young boys. Hopefully y'all listening to this. But, I mean, it was a great time to get acclimated with the team, figure out, what's great around campus, get acclimated to classes and get you out of that high school mentality. Sometimes you come in, you have an expectation of, you want to come in and play and whatnot, but you still have that high school mentality, and it really slows you down. So it helps you adjust fast. So I'm really excited to see some of these guys participate in spring ball. I mean, and that's the biggest thing is just being able to participate in spring ball. I mean, takes your game to a whole new level.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's where the advantage is to me. You get those spring reps in, you learn the playbook, you go through those winter. The first thing you're gonna do is a winter workout. So that's the hardest thing you probably
Get your
gonna do.
mind right.
Right,
for the rest of your career.
All I'm gonna say is upper decks.
Yeah, who knows what they're doing now? But yeah, I think if I got thrown in the fire right in the winter condition, I would have been like you. So I've been like, Ma, Dad, like I don't know if this is it. They doing a little bit too much my first week on campus, And I thought the summer workouts were hard. I remember running the cross fields with Herb, having to do like 15, 16 of them. If somebody didn't make it, you add an extra one. I'm thinking like these dudes crazy, and I hadn't even touched winter conditioning yet. You got to that, like whoa, these dudes tripping, like
totally different.
These dudes tripping. So I think it'll definitely help with these guys' development. I think it'd be huge for this coaching staff to get a grasp of what these players are, and it'll definitely help with their development. Man, you're gonna learn so much, at an early pace. You can learn it slower too. I feel like you're a little bit rushed when you come in June. You do your summer workouts. You're not really, you can do your little 7-on-7 drills, but you're not really getting coaching not till training camp. So it's kind of a lot being thrown at you at one time. And some guys kind of get lost in that shuffle. Some guys pick it up extremely quickly. It just all depends on the person. So I think it's huge.
And I think that's what college football is about now, especially with this transfer portal. If you got 9 guys, I mean, for us, we got 9, but if you got guys that's in your high school recruiting class that you feel like is going to have to contribute and play, which looking at those 9 guys that are coming in, I feel like that is what this is about. Like, you're going to have time to come in and learn, but we're looking for you to contribute this year. And then just having that transfer portal, guys just being able to come in, it's important that you get those high school guys up to speed because they're going to have to play come this season. So just it's a lot of stuff is beneficial to it. I'll tell you one thing that's crazy is, and them boys better get ready for that weather because, coming in and, in January, you see Madison. It's very beautiful. Don't get me wrong. It's a beautiful place, man. During the season, during fall. But that thing totally different in December and January, man. January through probably late February, March. I mean, you talking about it. April, sometimes you don't know how the weather gonna play out. It might be hot, in March, but you just never know. But that weather is different. So, like you said, just getting acclimated and adjusted to, having to get up at 5. I don't know what time they're doing now, but having to get up at 5:30 and make sure your body moving, and then also have to go to class right after. It's so much that's positive about that I'm excited for these guys because, like I said, these nine young men that are coming on campus are gonna have to get adjusted, and the ones that do get up to speed fast are gonna be contributors for this 2024 season.
For sure.
And you bring up something that I want to talk about too, the transfer portal. Obviously, that's a huge hot topic in college football as far as trying to regulate it, or are there too many kids? It's like, I think after the season, it was like over 1,000 kids, in the transfer portal. So that's like a whole nother, recruiting class, going spread out there before signing day and all that. So do you think it's an issue? Do you guys think it's good for these kids to, have an opportunity to kind of, decide their own destiny? I know there's a lot of people, on both sides of the fence. For me, I like it. I don't mind it. The thing where I just like weird with the whole recruiting process now, like the kids, I said on Twitter, the kids posting like every offer, I'm blessed to have an offer from this and this. I'm blessed to have an offer. Like, that's a little much for me, but I like how the kids are able to, if you feel like you're not, going to get some playing time there, you feel like the coach left or this and that, you have the opportunity to go somewhere else and kind of live out your dreams that way. When it becomes, transferring 2 and 3 schools, I think that's probably a problem. Sometimes you got to, sit sometimes sitting and waiting is good for some kids. Not everybody's just going to jump in and play as a freshman, as a sophomore. Sometimes you may jump in as a junior. So you're going to jump in as a senior and take off those last 2 years to give you an opportunity. So I want to know you guys' thoughts on the whole transfer portal thing.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think it's that. I don't think it's a great thing. Reason I say that is because a lot of kids, I don't know if they have the right reasons for jumping into the transfer portal. Like, you got, obviously, NIL is a big thing now, but like, kids weren't jumping into the transfer portal like that before NIL, for one. And I think that's the biggest thing, is kids trying to find that opportunity to secure the bag, to say the least. But to your point of, like, kids posting that stuff, and just fun fact for you from a recruiting standpoint, like, when kids post that stuff like blessed to have an offer, truth be told, that's actually good recruiting on their part too, because a lot of the time they get the news. Obviously, they're going to give you the news first on who they get offers from. So if you got another team that hasn't contacted them but is checking out their page and seeing the things they like to post, when they see all them teams that are offering them, if they think, oh man, this kid's a big time recruit, but it ain't on 247 yet, or it ain't on Rivals yet, like, that gets them jumping on that kid. So the kids kind of marketing themselves. So I think that's actually kind of smart. But back to the whole transfer portal thing, like I said, I don't think it's a great thing. I think it's good for kids to be finding opportunities, but you got to make sure you're doing it for the right reason, and you got to make sure that it's not just to go chase a check, because it ain't always real. And then for two, that you're not skipping out on that. I don't want to say skipping out on the adversity, but if you're sitting behind somebody for a year and you want to play right now, it may not always work out like you want it to. So sometimes you have to hang tough, put in your time. And sometimes it is that next man up mentality. Like, I applaud kids for wanting to go play now, but it don't work like that for 95% of those kids. If you think about it, like, a lot of it is next man up. The guy in front of you goes down. Now you're in. Now there's your 3 or 4 year career of being a starter, things like that. So, like I said, I don't think it's great, but I mean, we'll see what happens as it continues to stay open like it is.
I'm in agreement with both of you guys. Like, I like it from a standpoint of, like, if you're somewhere and you're not getting playing time, you have the opportunity to move. But then also, like you said, Warren, you got guys doing it for the wrong reasons, whether that be to chase a check. But when we say that, like, that is what college football is turning into. Well, not turning into what college football is. You get what I'm saying? And it really is, we said it a couple of weeks. I think, James, you said it, like, it's becoming free agency, to the point of, like, you got guys in the league that'll play for, the Patriots this year, and then next year they in San Francisco. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's so much to it, but it's a lot of pros and cons, man. I like something that really surprised me. I saw on Instagram, man, like, Colorado doesn't even really have, like, a freshman class. Like, I think they only signed like five high school kids, and the rest all guys from the transfer portal. So it's just it's taking away opportunities for young men that are busting their behind in high school, and hoping to get that opportunity at the next level, which, I mean, you will. But just having all these guys jump into a portal, getting a lot of false information too. Like, it's a lot of dreams being sold in that transfer portal. And then it's so many players in it. Like, I didn't really understand or know that it was that many guys that, like you said, James, that jumped into it, where it's like 1,000 kids, and we're just now really finishing up the season. So it got a lot of pros and cons to it, man. I'm just all for young men getting the opportunity to just try to live out their dream. I know we all chasing to get to that next level, which is the NFL. It comes, for guys in different, aspects in different ways. Just make sure that, I'm really big on knowing that the decisions that you make as a player or, as a young man is on you. So if you decide that, hey, I want to leave Wisconsin, or I want to leave, blah, 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 and go to another school, and it don't pan out, the number one rule is you can't blame nobody else but yourself. So, and I think that's one of the problems that we have in today's world, and with the young men nowadays, is accountability. You got to take accountability for the decisions you make. So it could work out, or it could go real bad. However the results is, you got to be able to live with it.
Yeah, I do got a question for y'all boys real quick, because Breeze brought up a good point talking about Colorado. Like, if you look at Colorado, just thinking about it, like, the 5 guys that they have or the 6 guys that they have, like I think 3 or 4 of them guys are the best guys at their position. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like in the country.
Yeah.
And then the rest of them are transfers, right? They got like 20 transfers or whatever. You know, and I'm assuming they're going out to try to get the best transfers too, because they got some really good guys coming in that they've talked about. So with that being said, like, I mean, does that sound like we trying to win now mentality? Obviously, you're not trying to build a dynasty, things like that, because coaches don't last around that long. You want to develop kids and things like that, but you think Prime is like on that, I want to win now. Like, you think it's going to be like that every year? Do you think 2-3 years from now, if they start winning, then he goes and gets a bigger recruiting class? Like, what you think? Or do you think it's like Colorado ain't got a ton of like success, so kids don't want to go there, or is it just because of Prime? Or what you think?
I was going to bring it up before you even said it. It's the pressure to win as a coach in college football. I mean, you go out there, you rely on, a bunch of freshmen coming in who may not, be ready to play for your next 2-3 years. Who knows what they develop to be, and who knows if you're going to win games those next few years, and how much patience do these college programs have for you. So these coaches want to win now. Like Fickle wants to win now. Like how hard people are already coming down on him. His first year there, expecting us to win 10 games, 9 games, 8 games when he hasn't even got his own recruiting class in there. So it's just what have you done for me now? Lately, it's like in the NFL, college football is turning that too. People want to see success quick. So how do you get success quick? You bring in a little bit of freshmen. You bring in some veteran guys who you've seen play. Are some dogs that are going to help you win football games. So I think that's the big thing with the transfer report, especially with Prime. He want to win. He's been talking his stuff. Like he not going to rely on 20 freshmen to go out there and get it done. He going to need some juniors, some seniors, some guys who he's seen play, and I think that's what it comes down to in college football. Is money, obviously, and then it's pressure to win, because obviously you're going to get fired. I mean, they can still get their check, but people want to see those wins. But we got to jump to a different topic now. Obviously, the bowl game's coming up. We play LSU in the next few days. Bowl games are a lot different now. I know they're a huge thing, for us. I mean, you'd be looking forward to that bowl suite and all that stuff, get you a Best Buy gift card for $500 running up in there, or get you a free Xbox or something. Like you was really looking forward to it. I mean, now it's a little bit different. They got NIL. You can get whatever you want throughout the year. So I don't know how they're treated as far as that, but what's you guys' kind of thoughts on the bowl game for us? I know Jaden Daniels not playing for LSU. I doubt their their top receivers, going to play either. So I think it's a little bit different now. I think you get to see probably some younger guys who haven't got to play some snaps all year long. You probably get an opportunity to play. So I think that's really huge. It's almost like a live spring game, spring scrimmage. I think that's what it is. If you're not in that top 4 or next year be top 12, it's kind of like a little sneak peek of what you get. A little jamboree. What you gonna have for next, which I think is cool too. So I mean, a lot of these freshmen, because you could play three games now, and you can still have your red shirt. So hey, I'm throwing you out there. I want to see what you're looking like in a live game time. So I don't know what you guys' thoughts on this bowl game for us. I think it's a game that we can win for sure. I know no Braylon Allen. That's huge. Obviously, he's going to the draft. So there's going to be some guys stepping in there. I think we can win this football game. They're missing some of their best players. So I think it's an even playing field. What's you guys' thoughts on the game?
Yeah, like I said, it's kind of becoming a field. Like you said, if you don't make it in that top 4 next year, top 12, it's kind of like a jamboree field, kind of see what you guys got on the roster. And then also, for that group coming in, you can kind of just, kind of compare and see, what positions that you're gonna, you're gonna have to, correct or improve on. And like you said, just playing, even us being a Big Ten team versus the SEC team, you know how big that has been in previous conversations. Now it's a little bit different just because a lot of teams are, leaving conferences, coming to conferences. It's going to look a lot different. But, I'm just hoping we're able to get a win against a solid team and be able to move forward for the next year with some momentum. LSU honestly has been a pretty good team throughout the season, obviously missing their quarterback who won the Heisman and the receiver who is going to be a first-round draft pick. Is a big key part of their success. But just the overall guys that they've had that year. They played some competitive games against really good teams, one team that's in the playoffs with Bama. So just being up for us to match up against those guys and see where we're at, that's what I'm looking forward to. Because, next year, wanting to be one of those 12 teams, you're going to start seeing teams like that are bringing in, top guys in their recruiting class that are facing top competition. And it's going to be a real good measuring stick for us.
For
What
sure.
about you, on? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, man, I agree. Like, I want to see us put out a good game, play all 4 quarters. I mean, you're gonna play a good LSU team. Obviously, like we already mentioned, missing their starting quarterback and top receiver. But a team like LSU, they reload every year, so we know they're gonna
They
have
have
some
depth.
good talent coming. You already know. So I
Yeah.
think it's gonna be a good game, and it's gonna be a good test for us, regardless of who they have on their side of the ball. I mean, that's gonna be a good test for us, seeing the product that we put out during the season. So how do we cap the end of the season? Let's go out, get a dub. We've played LSU before. We've beat LSU before. You know what I'm saying? We've been in close with LSU. Our first game with them back in 2014, beat them in 2016, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a good game for that little tiebreaker, within the last few years. But really excited to see these guys that are getting the opportunity to play step up and start putting that stamp on what they're gonna do these next few years and this upcoming year.
For sure. And getting a win in this bowl game, I think it's a huge stepping stone going into next year. Like I said, it's like a jamboree type feel, but you win this bowl game, especially against an SEC team who everybody thinks is the best conference in all of football. I think the coaching staff, all the players, you're going to come into that spring with a little bit more confidence, going forward, bringing in all the freshmen, all the transfers. I think you kind of hit the ground running. But also coming up in a few days, we got the college football playoff. We talked about it a few weeks ago in the joint pod. I don't know if you guys, thoughts or ideas or, who are going to win these matchups has changed. I know for me, this upcoming week, I like Michigan. I like Michigan versus Bama.
Yeah?
That's going to be a tough
Wow.
matchup. They gotta contain Milroe though. If Milroe goes crazy, they lose. That's how I see
Yeah, X factor for
that
sure.
type football game. And then for Washington, Texas, this game's a toss up for me.
Toss
I'm
up.
gonna roll with Texas. I picked them to win the national championship, so I'm gonna roll with Texas. I think Xavier Worthy, that team, Quinn Ewers, the quarterback. I think they handle business. Hopefully their defense can slow down that explosive offense in Washington. I don't know if you guys' opinions on this weekend has changed since the last time we spoke.
Yeah, nah, I'm still gonna go with Bama over Michigan. And it's like you said, Michigan got a tough task with containing Milroe. That's you just never know, right? You might get a explosive Milroe where everything's clicking, he's throwing the ball well, he's running the ball well. Their receiving group and offensive line and running back group have started to play real big, especially on the defense side of the ball. They've improved a lot as well. So what I'm looking forward to is seeing how Michigan quarterback is gonna adjust, because we know how effective and efficient Michigan's run game is. But I think when you start playing those teams, like when we say SEC teams, it's really 2-3 teams that they gonna have them gangsters up front. They gonna have some goons everywhere, and Bama and Georgia, and Bama is the team they're gonna have to play. So when you start playing big boys up front that can battle in those trenches, and then the run game, I won't say they take it away, but they kind of limit. Now you're forcing the quarterback to have to make plays through the air. And can he do it? Of course. He's done it all season, but they relied on that run game real heavy. So I'm gonna give Bama the squeak out. I think it's gonna be one of those 24-21 type games. And then with that other game, like you said, man, it's really a toss up. Like, one thing with Texas is you just never know what Texas team you are gonna get, man. You might get a Texas team that'll boat race you and put up 50, and defense is clicking. You can't score, you can't move the ball on them. And then you might get a Texas team where it's like, man, what in the world is going on? It can't stop nobody. Yeah, it's you know what I'm saying? And it's a shootout. And I think that's the game that Washington wants them to get into with them. And Texas has a really big, task with not getting into a shootout with Washington, because their offense is so explosive. They can score so many ways. Penix is playing great ball. I think he's going to be a gem and, a quarterback that, a team at the next level is going to be able to groom, and he's going to be able to become a star in the league. Granted, he stays healthy. He has all the attributes. So,
and he's playing, right?
Yeah, he's playing off. Yeah,
Okay,
he got to play.
College football player. You got.
So if I had to pick, man, I said Bama and Texas just because of the storyline and the game that happened earlier this year. But man, I'm gonna stick with that. But I want Washington to pull it out. I'm rooting for them. I want to see an underdog. They've been top dogs the whole year, but the underdog in these 4 college football teams, I want to see them take Washington to another level as far as programming. The same way, kind of how things shaped out last year for TCU.
About you, Warren, what's your opinions on the first round of college football playoff?
Man, I still think Michigan beats Bama. I think it's close. Reason I say that is, again, because we don't know what Jalen Milroe we're going to see. If we see the Jalen Milroe we've been seeing these last few weeks, it's going to be tough. But he's the X factor of the game, to be 100% honest with you. Like, it all depends on how he plays. I think Michigan has a really good enough defense to stop whatever Alabama has going on, the run game. You know, they've been solid in the past game, things like that. But then also on the flip side of that, if Michigan can get the run game going, it's going to be a long day for them too. Again, Breeze was talking about how Alabama's defense has gotten a lot better as the season has went on, and we've seen that. So I do think Michigan pulls out a close one. And then I'm going with Washington, man. I think, Penix not winning this Heisman is going to put a chip on his shoulder, and I think he's going to probably play his best game that he's played all year. Again, not to say that Texas isn't a great team, because Texas has really put it together this year, and they came a long way from where they've been. So to be able to put what they've been putting on tape has been really good to see from a historic program like that. But they got it. I mean, they got the weapons on both sides of the ball for Texas. So I think the X factor in that game is going to be Washington's defense. Like, how are they going to perform? Yeah. We know what a Pac-12 defense looks like, I mean, we do know what Big 12 defenses look like. So I do it. I mean, let's be honest.
Both giving up 100 points.
Yeah, I might take the over like 120. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it might look like a March Madness game. We might be preparing for college basketball season. But I know I take Washington. I think Penix is gonna have a great game, and he's gonna prove why he should have won the Heisman. No shade to Jaden Daniels, but Penix was outrageous this year. So, but that's just me.
And one thing people aren't talking about is, man, and it's not big to guys that's not playing on the field, but that game being in a dome, just. You feel like you're playing faster, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Indoor, like it's certain surfaces that I don't know about you guys, but like I know for me, like both times that we were able to play in Dallas, it just felt like the game and everybody was just much faster on those type of surfaces. So when you're facing two high powered offenses like this, it's going to be a lot of shots. It's going to be a lot of play action go balls. Like it's going to be a lot. These D backs need to make sure them hammies is right for all week. The shoelaces tied, and it's just so many factors that come into playing in those type of domes. I want to say that it's in New Orleans, right? Like, if New Orleans lights are terrible. Like, you will
blinded.
New Orleans, in the Colts Stadium, like you will lose that ball the minute the ball's in the air and you look up. You will lose the football in the lights, and it sounds crazy, but it's just factors into the game that can affect the outcome. So that's also going to be a little like a little gem in there that's going to determine how this game plays out, the surface, and then also the lights for both of these teams that can score a billion points.
Yeah, I'm excited for this week, man. Been looking forward to this. Is one of those years where it's truly a toss up who's going to win this thing. Whoever shows up, I think whatever defense shows up throughout this whole playoff, that'll be the team who ends up winning the national championship. But that's a wrap for this week's Camp Randall Platoon podcast. Shout out to my guy, Mike Murphy, for that drawing up. Shout out to my guy, Tevin Allen, Gold Feet Global.
Mike Murphy,
shout out to my
IG.
Gold Feet, gas. Both of them boys, man, they did their thing. Gold Feet with just TA down south with the training, and then man, that picture is that picture tough, James.
Yeah.
Bro,
I want to say that's when you scored the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
Like that's iconic, bro. That's just crazy. And then just the the transition from Wisconsin, man, he did his thing with that one. So shout out to him for that painting, bro.
Yeah,
bro, what's cold? Like y'all just mentioned, TA at Gold Feet, bro. Can you, bro? Majority of top receivers in the league right now have was trained by him, bro. Like that's like, can you imagine training like 60% of the people at your position in the league, and they top of the top performers every year? Bro, my dog got the formula.
Where that formula came from, though? Well, like what state, bro? Exactly, man. It's in our water down here.
I'm gonna tell you right now, bro. Hey,
it's in the water, fam.
you know what? All I'm gonna say is you can have receivers, you can have corners, but linebackers, O line, D line, hey, Illinois all day, baby. Come on now, boy.
Not into, but you know we
Front
gotta wrap it
seven.
up. But not in
Well, I mean,
today's
them
game,
edge
fam.
rushers though. I take that back. Yeah.
Bro, you need edge rushers and you need a quarterback and some guys that can go out there and run.
Hey, it's some
June-
quarterbacks
June
coming out of
bug, man.
Illinois now. There's some quarterbacks out of Illinois now. Don't sleep. We top five. We top five producers of college football talent in the country now. Don't sleep.
Ain't
Top
gonna lie, y'all.
five?
Top
No,
five.
bro.
I can name all five right now.
Top 10.
Texas,
Texas,
Georgia,
Florida, Georgia,
Louisiana.
California, Illinois. That's it.
Ohio,
At
Louisiana,
Put them out.
Louisiana,
Illinois. Nah,
That's
bro.
top 10.
Nah, bro.
Y'all
Nah,
done
bro. We
stepped
top
it up,
five.
man. Yeah.
Bro, we top five.
We'll continue this conversation later. That's a wrap for this week's Camp Randall Platoon podcast. I'm James White, along with Sojourn, Shelton, Warren Herring. Be excited to check out this college football playoff. Hopefully the Badgers end the season with a big dub against LSU. Get it rolling into 2024.
Hey, but that's that dance.
Hey!
Good job.